The keynote speaker is Mr. SAJJEED ASLAM. Mr. SAJJEED ASLAM is currently a partner, ESG in technology at Spectreco. He is a distinguished executive leader with over 25 years of experience shaping organizational vision, growth, strategies, risk management, corporate finance, business development, and team leadership. His global perspectives and views on cultural integration, ESG, and the other topics of the profession are shaped by living and working in diverse cultures across the globe, including Australia, Europe, the Far East, GCC, and Africa. So let's have a very big round of applause. I'm inviting over Mr. SAJJEED ASLAM over to the stage. Mr. SAJJEED.
Assalamu alaikum and very good morning. Guys, assalamu alaikum and very good morning. Thank you. Before going into, I think once we are looking at the topic and we are looking at the future of finance, I think this question was there 15,000 years before as well. In our history, we have always, some place, some point in time, somebody was asking, what's going to happen in future? And that question is a one constant question which we are hearing. And you can go in a history and you can keep reading that, and in every era you will find that question. The question is not only about the future of finance. The question starts with a very fundamental, the future of human being, how we are shaping up. Finance is a subset and a very, very essential subset there, right? Finance is something which brings transparency. Finance is one of a function which help you build trust. Finance is a one function which help you build relationships. Whether you are an investor, you are a stakeholder, you are a regulator, and it's all based on information, how you process it. But most importantly, how you communicate it, how you can build that confidence, the information you are passing on, for which, even if you look at the history, when the money was not invented and everything was on a barter trade, people were curious about the value, what they are giving up and what they are getting back. So the concept always existed. It's just that finance as a structured function has brought more transparency as well as certain compliances to make sure whatever information we are using, it's simple enough to understand and it's comparable. It's coming through a certain framework like Johan highlighted the GRI or IFRS or at one point of time integrated reporting. And then the life evolved. People say we want to know more. We want to know about, as a human being, and that's in a society, we have an expectation of a certain responsibility and conduct. And the people said we want to have the similar thing from the businesses. Whether the conduct of the business is right, whether they have got a right kind of policies and the procedure around the anti-corruption. Do they understand how they are creating an impact on climate and how climate is creating an impact on the business? What is the financial implication? If I'm a small investor or a large investor, is my investment safe? People are competent. The pay gap between the gender, is it there? Why it's there? Why people are not treated as fair as they should be? Why it's not the equal opportunity? All those questions started coming back from different stakeholders. And then it created a new era for finance when people have to really dig in beyond the financial number and start understanding the operations and the environment in which those operations are being conducted. That changed the finance role. It's changed it significantly from a number to someone who can understand business better and who can communicate that, again, in a very standardized way and a simple way to the respective stakeholder who need that information and build trust. One thing you have to understand, and I always tell particularly to young students, finance is one of a function where you provide opinion in one form. If you are accounts payable clerk, or you are doing a invoice processing, or you are doing a assurance, or you are doing a due diligence for a merger or acquisition, the one thing comes from accountant is an opinion. I am confident the information you are looking at is correct. Execute the transaction. So your word and opinion, and the money either goes out or money comes in. The transaction is based on those opinions. And that brings back to the talent. The credibility of that opinion comes from the knowledge which that person carries and the tools they use. But very recently, after COVID, there's another thing which added, and that's very visible now, which was not there before or not recognized as it's recognized today. So you need a certain skill set, and definitely to execute it efficiently, you need a certain tool set as well, like your softwares, your ERP, your Excel, or 10 other tools which you are using to be efficient. But now there is a recognition of a mindset. We can't continue doing the things the way we were doing it. We have to change our lens. And there are certain things in a very recent past which has created that dilemma that our mindset which we were using and running our life and running our work life specifically, it's no more relevant. It's just an introduction. Spectreco, just to start with that, Spectreco is an advisory technology and data company which is working around the globe. We provide platform for sustainability or ESG data specifically, but that's not my key topic to introduce Spectreco. You can go on spectreco.com, you can figure out that what we do. Here it comes, what I was talking about, that there was a requirement to change the mindset. We have started seeing climate change. Is it something new? Again, if you go in a history, there was a recognition when the people start going for the urbanization and housing, and they went into the deforestation, there were people who raised voice that you are going to harm the ecosystem. When we were doing all the emissions and creating the products which were cheaper, and we were not accounting for, and that's an accounting issue, we were not accounting for the cost of the nature, which in the last 150, 100 to 200 years, that's the debt which we have accumulated, which was unaccounted for, and it suddenly became due. And we can't defer it. That cannot be restructured. And now every business has to start thinking about the impact and the financial impact the climate change is going to have on them. At the same time, their impact on the climate change. And now with 631 regulation changes which happened in the last 3 years across the globe, it's becoming a nightmare for people to manage it. And it's only possible if we deploy the right kind of technologies and we create the right kind of mindset where your lens, whenever you do your business or do your reporting, your lens can account for the climate impact, whether it's a mitigation or adaptation, it's a national level, or it's on a business level or a value chain of the business. Everybody is a contributor, at the same time vulnerable to that climate change. The second big thing, and that's a very interesting debate, the innovation which happened in terms of the connectivity, in terms of the artificial intelligence, in terms of the energy storage. And now with the convergence of these three, you can see electric vehicle, or you can see the automated vehicles who are self-driven. You no need to drive them, right? Similarly, you combine other things. There's a connectivity, there's a IoT, and there's a robot. You got more efficient person who can do a repetitive task better than any other human being, and they don't need any other support other than the maintenance, right? So now we are entering in a world where the convergence is happening. There were, like Jean highlighted Kenya. Kenya was the first case where there was a massive adoption of M-Pesa, not because it was a miracle of technology, because there was a need. People were unable to carry money from one place to other place because of the safety issue, and the transferring money from the bank was very expensive. So M-Pesa business case came up. Similarly, now all these technologies which we are seeing there, they are helping in isolation, but with the convergence, they create the new products. And that's what the innovation world we are living in. So as a finance professionals, you have to generate another lens, which is called opportunity. The things you are seeing around you or happening in your organization or in your value chain, where you can compete, where you can collaborate, and where you can innovate. And that's a new lens which the finance professionals need. Other area we have seen and massively seen, and I think everybody sitting in that hall can recognize it, it's a cost of living. In the last 2-3 years post-COVID, we have seen a major cost of living crisis. People are again finding new ways. They are redefining their life. They are redefining their work habits, work from home, need technology, need connectivity, a new work ethics which is required. Suddenly that work from home thing has created a global job market. But that job market is for somebody who is best in class. So whatever you are doing, you have to be best in class. Your mindset has to be best in class. Your skill set has to be best in class. And the tool set you are using has to be best in class, and all has to be relevant. It can't be 10 years back I used to do work that way, and now I would like to do a global role and a remote job, but I still want to do in a similar way. That's not possible. Another area which came and hit us bad after cost of living and the opportunity it has created, conflicts, Ukraine, Russia, Palestine. And it has impacted the global trade. And people who are engaged and involved in a global trade, they can well imagine with prolonged conflict, it has got a people start creating the new trade routes that start creating a new partnership at a government's level. They start creating new trade regions. And that's also create opportunity. COVID is another risk which we never, or most of the people have never accounted for, and no business continuity plan, no financial, like the size of the financial resources are available or would be available if that happens again. And that has also shaken the confidence in terms of how we measure the financial risk. Can we see these things? Can we account for those things? Can we report those things? And to do all that, there's one thing which still required, and that's something history has told me. There will be few wise, committed men and women who will lead the change. They will acquire new knowledge, or they will use their existing knowledge to solve the new problems. They will deploy all the tools which are available. They will use the frugal approach that whatever available in their surrounding and within their reach, they will use that. Those were the people, or those will be the people who will not take no as an answer, who will say we are committed to the climate change, I'll do my part. I don't care whether the person does or not. I'll do my technology knowledge, I'll build my knowledge, I'll think in the direction. Think is a key word which we have stopped doing for a while now, so we will go back thinking. The people will start thinking. They will collaborate. They will advocate. They will build new talent. And that talent will define what kind of future we are going to get. Future is not something you can imagine. Future is always what you create. And we are waiting for those people who can help us navigate that ambiguity which we are in, not only as a human being, but all the businesses we are talking about. And businesses are source of hope and economic growth. So they have got as important role as entities as we have as an individual. And we individuals collectively drive those changes. And we are the one who are going to navigate that ambiguity which we are living in, whether it's a climate change, whether it's a technology and innovation, whether we are talking about COVID or conflict, whether we are talking about the cost of living and redefining our lifestyles and the work habits. We need that talent. We need those wise people who are going to be way intelligent than the artificial intelligence one. We have to start avoiding our natural stupidity and start using a lens and start looking things clearly and start looking at the risk and opportunity at the same time. We are no more a finance professionals who will look at the one side where the compliance has not happened. We are the people who are going to define if I am a compliant company, if I'm doing my reporting right, if my governance is my asset, how I'm going to monetize it, how I'm going to create a financial instrument out of it. And I'll use just one example of such a group which I met in Indonesia. They were working on SOE, state-owned enterprises, and they decided, there was a lady who was heading that, and finance professional, she decided with 3 people who were IT and finance that we are going to do the consolidation of all the state-owned enterprises. And they said, there's no legal structure where we have a holding company. They said, hell with it, I'll use the IFRS business combination concept. The standard allows me that. And then they said, there's no standard chart of accounts. All those are, there are 73 different enterprises, and those enterprises do not have a standardized process. They said, we will use technology there. She used very young people, and they said, this is a task. You have to run the consolidation like John mentioned. There was a lot of data which is not matched, and then they have to do all reconciliation. And everybody was scared that it's a state-owned organization. Once it's consolidated, they might end up with a major liabilities. To their surprise, when the consolidation was done, and EY was the one who verified that, they ended up with $680 billion worth asset. Their total NDC, National Adaptation Plan and Mitigation Plan, was around $500 billion for next 7 years. And they got $680 billion worth asset, where another finance person guided them to create it, convert that into a financial instrument, go and raise money around it. So asset-backed financing. So that's when you start looking at the opportunity and stop taking no as an answer, and you have got that vision and will and determination. That's how you create a future. So thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you will be having fun, and wish you a very good rest of the session. Thank you very much.